Sometimes focus hides behind strange masks. We chase many things at once and forget what really matters. This is the story of how a lazy boy, by following a squirrel, discovered the secret of attention and patience. Strange? Yes, but true in its lesson. Ethan was 16. He lived in a small town full of green parks and narrow streets. Everyone knew him as the daydreamer. He started things, but never finished them. He loved to draw. He loved to play guitar. He even tried learning coding once. But he quit everything after only a few days. One day, his grandmother said, "Ethan, a river doesn't reach the sea if it keeps changing its path." He just laughed, but her words stayed in his mind. The next morning, Ethan went to the park. He carried a notebook, promising himself he would focus this time. But then he saw it, a squirrel, small, fast, and strange. The squirrel looked at him, twitched its tail, and darted away. Ethan laughed. "Where are you going, little guy?" Without thinking, he followed. The squirrel ran to another tree, then another. It never stopped. Ethan grew tired but curious. Why was he chasing this animal? He thought of quitting, but something inside whispered, "Keep going. See where it leads." So he pushed himself forward. Hours passed. Ethan had never focused on one thing this long. His legs ached, his breath heavy. But strangely, he felt alive. Finally, the squirrel stopped near a quiet pond. Ethan collapsed on the grass, laughing. "You win, little guy." But the squirrel only watched him. Ethan noticed something strange. He had chased for hours, yet he never thought of quitting after the first time. For once, he had finished something. The next day, Ethan returned to the same park. He wondered if the squirrel would appear again. And yes, it was waiting, tail flicking like a signal. Again, it darted away. Ethan sighed but followed. "You're strange," he muttered. "But maybe I need strange." This time, the chase felt easier. His legs didn't burn as much. His breathing steadied. Something was changing. The squirrel led him to a hilltop. Ethan stopped, looking down at the town below. He had never seen this view before. For a moment, Ethan forgot the squirrel. He just stared at the horizon, his chest filled with wonder. How did I never notice this before? The squirrel squeaked, pulling him back. Ethan chuckled. All right, I'm coming." And the chase continued. Day after day, Ethan returned. Each time, the squirrel led him farther. His legs grew stronger, his mind clearer. Sometimes he wanted to stop, but then he remembered his grandmother's words. A river flows only if it stays on course. One afternoon, Ethan's friend Liam spotted him. "Why are you always chasing that squirrel?" Ethan just smiled. "Because it's teaching me something." Liam laughed. "A squirrel? Teaching you?" Ethan nodded. "Yes. About focus. About patience." His voice was steady for the first time. That night, Ethan wrote in his notebook. For the first time, the pages weren't empty. He filled them with thoughts about focus, about finishing what he started. Each chase with the squirrel was like training. His body grew stronger. But more importantly, his mind stopped wandering. One day, Ethan tripped and fell. His knees scraped, dirt clung to his hands. He almost shouted in frustration. The squirrel became his strange coach. It never spoke, but its actions guided him. He realized life itself gives signals, just like the squirrel's tail. People began to notice the change. Ethan smiled more. He stood taller. Even his teacher said, "You look different these days." Ethan's mother asked, "What happened to you?" He only smiled. How could he explain that a squirrel was teaching him focus? One morning, Ethan brought his guitar to the park. He sat by the pond and practiced the same song again and again. For once, he didn't quit. After many days, the song sounded smooth. Ethan closed his eyes, playing with confidence. The squirrel twitched its tail proudly. It hit him then. Focus was like chasing the squirrel. If you keep going, Even when tired, you reach places you never imagined. Ethan began waking early. The park felt different in the morning. The air crisp, the lights softer. The squirrel always appeared, waiting like a loyal guide. Some mornings he wanted to stay in bed. But then he remembered the squirrel, and the thought of quitting felt heavier than his tiredness. He noticed changes he never expected. His grades improved. His drawings looked better. Even his friends listened to him more. But still, every afternoon, he chased the squirrel. It was no longer just an animal. To him, it was focus made alive. One windy day, rain clouds gathered. Ethan hesitated. Would the squirrel still come? And yes, it appeared. Wet, scruffy, but determined. Ethan smiled. If he can show up, so can I. The chase in the rain was harder. Mud splashed, clothes soaked. Yet Ethan kept running, laughing through the storm. By the pond, thunder rolled. Ethan stood there, soaked to the skin, breathing hard. He felt proud, more proud than ever before. He whispered, I get it now. It's not about the squirrel. It's about showing up. Every day, no matter what. The storm passed. Sunlight pierced the clouds, painting the pond in gold. Ethan laughed, lifting his arms like a winner. The next morning, the world felt different. Ethan woke with a sense of certainty, like the squirrel had rewired his mind. In school, Ethan noticed he no longer rushed. He took one task at a time. His friends noticed too. He seemed calmer, stronger. Even at home, distractions lost their grip. He scrolled less, read more, and spoke to his parents with patience. One evening, his little sister asked, Why do you chase that squirrel every day? Ethan smiled. Because it taught me how to stay. The squirrel still came. Sometimes it ran fast, sometimes slow. But Ethan no longer cared about the speed, only about keeping pace. One golden afternoon, the squirrel led him back to the pond. Ethan sat, notebook in hand, and began to draw, not the squirrel, but his journey. His drawing was messy but alive, full of lessons learned. He realized the squirrel wasn't his teacher, it was his mirror. Weeks later, Ethan no longer needed the squirrel, but still came. And together, they ran, not to chase, but to celebrate. Looking back, Ethan realized the strangest week of his life was also the most important. A squirrel had turned distraction into devotion. He whispered his final thought. Focus is not chasing endlessly. Focus is staying, even when it's hard. The squirrel just showed me the way. Moral of the story. True focus isn't about chasing everything. It's about staying steady, even when it storms. One morning, Ethan woke before sunrise. He felt a pull inside, like the world was inviting him to begin. He walked to the park and found it empty. For the first time, he realized the quiet was not lonely, it was powerful. The squirrel hopped close and sat by his feet. Ethan whispered, I don't need to chase anymore. I just need to walk steady. In that moment, he understood. The squirrel was never running away. It was simply showing him the rhythm of life. From then on, Ethan lived differently. He didn't fear distraction. He danced with it like a friend. And in that dance, he found focus.